indeed. They got those sodas out at a store near you. Ticker brought to you by Pelican Brewing Company. Born at the beach, online at pelicanbrewing.com. 5 coastal locations with the addition of the new Rockaway location. Go check it out if you get a chance to go out to the coast. Pelican Brewing.
Off this. Hey.
Born at the beach.
Sorry, that was a fat finger. Fat finger, apologies.
It's okay. It's just awkward to hear John Gruden in my head.
That's the one I was reaching for. I was reaching for the ding. Going for the ding there. Going for the ding.
Thank you. We were talking about Oregon, Iowa, doing a little peekaboo here on a Tuesday, and so I thought, I got some landing cuts I want to play. Bill Conley on last week. He talked about this matchup, and then Rittenberg yesterday. Let's start with Lanning. We'll see what the college football playoff rankings will give us tonight. They will have the first set of them released. I don't know how I'm going to follow it because I'm holding the line here.
Yeah, I don't have ESPN anymore.
I'll see it.
Who cares? You'll just find out online.
I don't like to watch the show anyway.
You get the committee chair that comes on and he gives you some nonsense argument. It doesn't make any sense, and you just end up yelling at your TV anyways.
Here was Dan Lanning at his Monday presser on Iowa, and, maybe they should get more respect.
There's some great teams that we're going to see over the next few weeks, and Iowa certainly sets that off. I'm shocked this team isn't ranked. If you look at the way they've been playing, especially recently, and the job that they've done, they jumped out really fast against a Minnesota team that plays good football. Had a big win this past weekend, so I think this team probably is not getting near enough credit that they deserve for the kind of team that they are.
Yeah. And we'll see if they get ranked tonight in the playoff. And I hear his point. He's just reacting to the AP poll and to what you said earlier. If the playoff committee comes out and says they're top 25, then they're a legitimate top 25.
Yeah, I look at the rankings right now, and I'm not sitting here arguing that Iowa is the same level as Alabama, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Georgia. That's not my argument. You're telling me that they're not on the same level as Missouri? Mm-hmm. Missouri just gets a free skate with a 2-loss to be ranked inside the top 20. Tennessee is still ranked, by the way. They now have 3 losses.
I think Cincinnati was on the AP poll too, weren't they?
Cincinnati at 7-2,
and they
still
lost
ranked
45 to 15 or whatever.
What are we doing? So Iowa's not better than those teams.
Right.
Get the hell out of here with that.
Lanning did also talk about the Iowa defense. I know that Hawkeye person's jokingly saying, "Please run the ball." I'm fascinated to see the front seven battle. Right, that Duck offensive line has had some questions. I think their numbers look good, but people kind of still look at that group and wonder how truly good are you? This will be a really good test for them on the road. Here's Dan Lanning on Iowa's defense.
Like I said, I think it all starts with their defensive line and the way they play up front. They eat up a ton of blocks up front. They're really aggressive. They're hard to get to the second level on because they do such a good job with the defensive line. Their safeties do a great job supporting the run, and their backers scrape and fit really well. And they put their guys at times on islands, and you don't see people take advantage of it because they perform really well outside. So it's just tough. It's a suffocating defense. They do a good job.
83.88 yards per game. Right now, Iowa third in the Big Ten rush defense.
Pretty damn good. I think you'd have to look at comparable rosters in terms of talent of trying to find something that applies here and not hey, what did you do against Stony Brook in week 1 or who I can't remember who they played, but there are some that are more applicable. Like the Indiana game is one that I would circle. On the game total, they gave up 104 rushing yards to Indiana, but that was also deflated by sack yardage. I think Indiana lost about 50 yards in sacks in that game, and so that's another big part of this Iowa defense that they can give you some confusing looks and get after the quarterback. Roman Hemby, the top running back for Indiana in that game, and they're not known as a run-heavy, dominant, on-the-ground team, but he had 15 carries for 86 yards and averaged 5.7 yards per carry. So some better backs have been able to do it, but that's always been the calling card of Iowa. It is we're going to play low-scoring games. We're not going to beat you with scoring 40. We're going to hold you to what we want to hold you to. We'll make a play on special teams. We'll force a turnover. And next thing you know, you're in a tight one-score game in the fourth quarter that you didn't see coming.
Right now, the Stats of War Advanced Stats preview says Oregon has a 54.2% win probability going in, and the projected points are 23.96 to 21.66.
So maybe the under is the play for a lot of people. And
that
Iowa,
would be the over.
That would technically be the over. But
yeah.
A lot of people are starting to like Iowa plus 5.5, plus 6.5, wherever you're getting the line right now.
I don't blame people for jumping on the points. I also find it hilarious how hyped up they're making the quarterback of Iowa. Was it Mark Gronowski?
Mark Gronowski. He's got a Fu Manchu, dude. He had one of the great
He has
walk-off
4
interviews.
passing touchdowns on the season.
I mean, look, here's what I would say about him. It's not. I've gone back and watched a couple Iowa games in the bye week. I watched their game against Indiana. I watched the blowout win over Minnesota. The Minnesota game they were good offensively. I'm not going to sit here and pretend as if they were bad. That also was a game that was inflated score-wise by non-offensive points. They had a pick 6 in the first half. Caden Weegan, their good punt returner, returned a punt. Like, they found other ways to score that then I think you just look at the box score and you say, man, 41-3, and then you pull it up. I think Iowa in the game had like 240 total yards of offense, but they won the game 41-3. That's what they can do to you. I also think that we're praising him because the bar has been so low, and it's also not incorrect to praise him because their passing offense feels better than it has in a number of years. Now, when you're better than the worst in the country, I'm not saying you're elite throwing the ball. He has 3 games this year where he hasn't even thrown for 100 yards. What he can do that is maybe more impactful than some of their quarterbacks at years old, and I'm not going to pretend to remember every Iowa quarterback in the last 10 years, he's a really good athlete. He's a dynamic guy with his legs.
They're averaging 1 more yard in passing offense this year than they averaged all of last year.
So it's not that different. But I just, in terms of watching him, it feels more competent. But I also didn't watch every Iowa game last year. And some of them not having big games is a byproduct of the opponent that they're playing, and also because he's gone off. Like, they beat Penn State. He only had 68 passing yards in that game, but they only threw it 16 times. He ran it for 130 yards on Penn State. So that's the dynamic part of him that could hurt you. And we saw that late in the Oregon-Indiana game when Oregon needed stops. What killed them on multiple drives? It was Mendoza pulling it in zone reads and picking up 9, 10, 12, 15 yards and sliding down to the ground. Gronowski is a very good athlete that can use his legs.
You're not wrong there. The completion percentage, 62.7 last year. So far, it's 63.8. So the completion percentage is up 1%. And then yards per attempt this year, Iowa is averaging dead last 5.6.
Yeah, I mean, they're
last year they were averaging 6.6. So like, I think your point on the rushing part is the most important part of this because the numbers really aren't. He's just funnier.
He's funnier.
He looks more of an Iowa quarterback, right? He probably has a dip in. He literally looks like their Gardner Minshew. It's what he looks like. And so the numbers don't actually bear out that he's really that much better. Here's Bill Conley. We asked him last week on a early Oregon-Iowa matchup since there was a bye. Bill Conley on the Oregon-Iowa matchup.
Their defense was a little, I'm not going to say shaky. They were still not allowing all that many points. But, they got into a little bit of a track meet with Rutgers early on. But the last few weeks, the defense has been, awesome. Penn State got to 24, but they needed that blocked field goal to do it. And so it's an Iowa defense again, which means zone defense, no big plays whatsoever. You're going to have to settle for 4-yard rushes a lot and just, not make the one mistake that they're waiting on you to make. And the offense is running the ball really well. They're 12th in my rushing success rate measure. Again, no big plays. There are no big plays in Iowa games. That's the main lesson there, unless it's a kick return, or an interception return, I guess. Yeah. But they are much more efficient offensively than they were a couple of years ago, and and that's working out pretty well. So it's just hard. Like even Indiana, like they got it done, but it's just you're never going to enjoy playing Iowa. You just have to go in, not make the killer mistake, and just kind of wait them out.
They've only given up Iowa's defense 1 run of 20-plus yards.
It's really good, man.
15 plus 10 yards. That's actually the best in the conference. You know who's second? Oregon.
Hey.
So both of these defenses, this is where it kind of could get ugly. Both the defenses, and in terms of like allowing long running plays, they don't give up a lot. Oregon is second in that same category, but in passing. And Iowa is third. So limiting big plays is a big part of why these defenses are having statistically good seasons.
I think the biggest key for Oregon's defense will be to not allow them to dictate the style of the game, because I think that's where Iowa can get you. I've made the analogy this week. This reminds me of going in and playing a Stanford game. And I remember the memes out of those games sometimes where there was like 17 offensive linemen on the field, and that's what it feels like when you play Stanford. That's Iowa. Like, they want you to have 8 possessions the entire game. They want to run it for 3.5 yards per carry, pick up a first down, and have a 7.5-minute drive that ends in a touchdown or a field goal. And you look up and you say, wait a minute, we touched the ball once in the first quarter and we went 3 and out. Now it's only our second possession in the second quarter.
We're over it here. So I'm looking at their numbers. Like, Oregon's not. Isn't that kind of what Oregon is, though? Like, they want to run the ball. They're killing clock. Like, they're controlling. I know they have some plays and touchdowns where they score really quickly.
They just had 750 yards against Rutgers 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what
It was 2 weeks ago.
I'm not
Or
saying
3
the
weeks ago
numbers
now, I guess.
aren't better than Iowa's, but you
Sure.
say like you don't want to play Iowa style of football.
I think Oregon
is
I don't think they want to
absolutely-
do that at all. I think Oregon wants as many possessions as humanly possible this week.
Right, but if Oregon dominates the ball for 8 minutes by just running it down their throat, I think they're totally
depending
happy
on the
playing that
time
game.
and the score of where you're at. If you're up by 14 in the third quarter and you want to have a 9-minute drive to go up by 21, I think they're more than willing to do it.
Because it's
But I
kind of
don't.
what they did against Northwestern.
Yeah, I mean, they want to suffocate you once they get you in a lead, sure, in the second half. I think Iowa's game plan the entire game is that. I think Oregon's going to want to come out and try and go with a little bit of tempo and get a lead early in the game and say, you try and keep up with us. If we get a 10-point lead or a 14-point lead, we're going to win this game. You don't have the ability to throw your way back into it.
I have something I want to carry over because we're against it, but that's the Daily Ticker. Some audio cuts there. Dan Lanning giving compliments to Iowa at his press conference and Bill Connelly on the matchup. Daily Ticker brought to you on the Fan by Pelican Brewing Company. Born at the beach, 5 coastal locations, newest one, Rockaway Beach. Pelican Brewing, born at the beach.